والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تمسك بسنته بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, after praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending the salutations upon the Messenger alayhi salatu wassalam, and upon his family, his companions, and upon all those who follow upon his guidance into the establishment of the last day, to proceed, ikhwan. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Glory belongs to you, Ya Allah. Verily we have no knowledge except that which you have taught us. And indeed you, Ya Allah, you are the all-knower and the all-wise. You are the all-knower and the all-wise. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن قلب لا يخشع ومن نفس لا تشبع ومن دعاء لا يسمع. Verily, Allah, we seek refuge with you from knowledge that has no benefit, and from a heart that has no fear, and from a soul that has no satisfaction nor contentment, and from a dua that goes unanswered, and from a dua that goes unanswered. To proceed, ikhwan, ونواصل معكم في هذا اليوم المبارك عونا من الرحمن الرحيم. So we continue this blessed and noble night of ours, seeking the aid and the assistance of our Lord, the most merciful and the most compassionate. مستفيدين ومتعلمين من اللغة العربية as we continue to learn from the Arabic language. فكن
يكون شيئا اثنتين
الذي يدل
اثنتين
على اثنين. That which points to two things. طيب فتعلمنا يا إخوان أن المثنى ما دل على شيئين اثنين. So we mentioned that the muthanna is that which points to two things. ما دل على شيئين. What points to two or two things. شيئين اثنين, two things. طيب فالآن يا إخوان تعلمنا المفرد وتعلمنا المثنى. So now bihamdillah we have learned the meaning of al-mufrad, the singular, and we have learned the meaning of al-muthanna. فعندنا الآن المفرد. So now from our terminologies from the Arab we have the meaning of al-mufrad. فالشيخ نكير ما هو المفرد? What is the mufrad? الشيخ نكير, what is the mufrad? What is
ما يدل على شيء واحد.
That which points to one thing. ما يدل على شيء واحد. So the singular is this يا إخوان. Now we have learned the mufrad and we have learned the muthanna. The mufrad, the singular, is ما يدل على شيء واحد is what or that which points to one thing. That which points to one thing. طيب فحاولوا يا إخوان أن تتعلموا هذه الكلمات بالمعنى. So try to learn these terms by meaning, not by translation. Don't learn مفرد singular, مثنى dual. لا. النفع في هذا قليل. The benefit there is small. ولكن إذا تتعلمون أو تعلمون أو تتعلمون المعنى فالنفع في هذا كثير. النفع في هذا كثير. But if you learn the meaning of the thing, now the benefit is much. So the muthanna is what points to two things. The mufrad is what points to one thing. فعندنا الآن الجمع. عندنا الآن الجمع. So now we have the plural. الجمع. فما تعريف الجمع? So what's the definition of the جمع? What's the definition of the plural?
ما يدل على شيء جامع أو جميع.
طيب, you can say that. You can say that. That which points to something in the plural or the collection of something. You can say that. Anyone have another definition? MashaAllah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. طيب, write this definition that our beloved sister mentioned, ya ikhwan. Al-Jam', what is the Jam'? It is exactly as our sister mentioned. The Jam' is the word الكلمة التي تدل على ثلاثة فأكثر. It is the word that points to three or more. Three or more. الكلمة التي, the word that points, التي تدل على ثلاثة ثلاثة فأكثر. It points to three or more. At least three. It points to three or more. الكلمة التي تدل على ثلاثة فأكثر. The word that points to three or more. Three or more. The word that points to three or more. Don't just say three. La. Three or more. If you learn only three, what about if it points to 7, 8, and 9? You're going to be confused. Three or more. ثلاثة فأكثر. The word that points to three or more. طيب. طيب, الآن يا إخوان عندنا التمرين السادس. Now we have exercise number 6. Exercise number 6. No.
Okay, go ahead.
طيب طيب فانظر الآن يا إخوان. Now we have exercise number 6. تناول محمود حبة. محمود consumed, partaked, or placed in his mouth a capsule, a حبة. هذا المفرد, that's a singular. تناول محمود حبات. Mahmoud consumed or placed in his mouth, he partook in حبات, capsules. هذا الجمع, this is the plural. حبات. طيب الثانية, number 2. وجد محمود كراسة. Mahmoud found. Mahmoud found a notebook. كراسة, notebook. وجد محمود كراسات. Mahmoud found notebooks. Mahmoud found notebooks. طيب الثالثة, number 3. كتب محمود صفحة. كتب محمود صفحة. Mahmoud wrote a page. He wrote out a page. Page of أي شيء, whatever. كتب محمود صفحات. Mahmoud wrote pages. Mahmoud wrote pages. الرابعة. اشترى محمود زجاجة. اشترى محمود زجاجة. Mahmoud purchased or brought a bottle of something. A bottle of water, bottle, soda bottle. زجاجة, he bought a bottle, a glass bottle of something. اشترى محمود زجاجات. Mahmoud bought bottles of glass or glass bottles في الجمع. طيب انظر هنا يا اخوان. So look at the screen. عندنا الآن كلمة حبة. So now we have the word حبة. حبة. هذا مفرد. That's a singular. That's a singular. الجمع حبات. The plural is حبات. حبة حبات. طيب صفحة مفرد, singular, a page. الجمع صفحات. pages. What was the next one? كراسة. كراسة, a notebook. كراسة, a notebook. الجمع, the plural, notebooks. عفوا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The plural, الجمع, the plural, كراسات. كراسات. كراسات, notebooks. وآخر واحد, and the last of these new words or the is زجاجة. Arabic. Go to Arabic. Change. And we're trying to change the Arabic. Bismillah. Why not switch? Zujajatun. A bottle or glass. الجمع زجاجات. زجاجات. ما هو الأمر الذي يقع في كل هذه الكلمات؟ What's the thing that's similar that takes place in all of these words يا إخوان؟ The وزن كراسات. They end in what? They end in a tanween. ضم تنوين. طيب. The وزن is similar. طيب. ماذا? What else? الشكل, the shape of the words that was mentioned. What else? What stands out even more than all of that? Huh? But each one of the plural, you add an alif. طيب, that stands out also. And one more thing should stand out to all of you on your level. Each and every one of you should see this. Huh? That they're all feminine. كل هذه الكلمات مؤنثة. All of these words are مؤنثة. مؤنثة. Each one is feminine. مؤنثة. مؤنثة. Each one is feminine. It's the first thing that should stand out, ya ikhwan. Each one is feminine. Everything you said is correct, but some of that is difficult. You had to look deep to see the shape, and look deep to see the dhamma, and look deep. All that's correct, sahih. But easier than all of that is that they all are feminine. طيب. الجمع ثلاثة جماعات. The plural is of three types. وقال بعض العلماء جمعان. While other scholars say no, they're only two. Another ikhtilaf. The scholars differ often, ya ikhwan, in issues that there's no Quran and Sunnah to support. A lot. And sometimes, even if there's Quran and Sunnah, they differ on the authenticity of that hadith. And if the hadith is authentic, they differ in what? What's the last thing? Not the qiyas. Say the hadith is authentic. Some scholars still may differ in what? We mentioned that. If the hadith is authentic or not. Some say it's authentic, some say it's da'if. If they say it's authentic, some still may differ in one last thing. Just say they agree on the hadith being authentic. What's something else that they may differ on? Ahsanti, ahsanti. Fahmuhu. What is it saying? What is it saying? We'll give an example, ya ikhwan. What's a hadith that comes to our mind? That's a tremendous understanding of this issue here. What's another? بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام. لا نكاح إلا بولي إلا بولي من حديث عائشة في السنن. This hadith is narrated by Aisha. لا ليش بكسرة لا نكاح إلا بولي. طيب. There is no marriage except with the wali, with the guardian. Guardian. That looks jacked up, yeah. My English ain't the best English. Where my spellers, يا إخوان؟ طيب لا بأس. Guardian. لا نكاح إلا بولي. From the hadith of Aisha, and it's collected in the Sunan. طيب. هذا الحديث قال بعضهم أنه ضعيف. Some scholars say this hadith is weak. والصحيح أنه صحيح. That which is correct is that it is sahih. The scholars differ, يا إخوان. It's not an issue that the scholars differ from time to time. That happens. What's the issue is that you still have to look at the evidence. You can't do like most of us. Well, Sheikh Albani said, Sheikh Muqbil said, Abu Hanifa said, Imam Malik said. No, that's the blind follower is going to stop there. The student of knowledge is going to say, Aina daliluhum. The student of knowledge is going to say, we love those scholars. We honor those scholars. Where are their proofs? That's a student of knowledge. طيب. Now, ما فهموا هذا الحديث. Now, what is the understanding of this hadith? Abu Hanifa, he says, هذا الحديث ليس عام ولكنه خاص. Now, you may not agree here. That's not my point. My point is just to clarify. You may agree, you may differ. That's fine. That's not my point. My point is to clarify. Like Abu Hanifa says, this hadith is specific and it's not general. Abu Hanifa says, this hadith is specific and it's not general. What does that mean? هو يقول أن هذا الحديث يدل على امرأة واحدة. He says this hadith is talking about one type of woman. It's not general. It's talking about the woman that is a bikrun, is a virgin girl who's never been married. This is his opinion of the hadith. The virgin girl, the one has never been touched, meaning by a man, meaning by a man. So according to Abu Hanifa, he says, if the woman has been married before, this hadith is not talking about her. Now there's no proof to support that, according to the scholars of hadith. However, that's his understanding. He's talking about, or he says, from what he understands, that the Messenger of Allah in this hadith is not talking about every woman. He's not talking about every marriage, but he's talking about the woman that has never been married. She is the one who needs a guardian, according to Abu Hanifa, according to Al-Imam Abu Hanifa. So what is he saying? The woman that has been married before or has been touched before, to him, this woman does not need a wali. He says the same way the woman that has been married before can go to the marketplace and buy and trade, which is correct, she can also marry herself off, according to him. طيب. The second opinion is the strongest opinion. هذا الحديث عام, that this hadith is general. هو النبي يتكلم عن البكر والثيب. البكر والثيب. And the Messenger of Allah is in fact talking about the virgin girl or the woman who has been married before. The point is what? What's the point of me showing you this, ya ikhwan? Hey, that sometimes the understanding of something that's authentic, the scholars may differ. The Messenger ﷺ used to say many ad'iyah at the beginning of the salah. Who can mention one? Allahu Akbar. That's the hadith of Umar. And it's also the hadith of La ilaha illallah, Abi Sa'id al-Khudri. The hadith of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri is weak. The one that's authentic is the one by Umar. The one that is narrated by Umar. But Umar's hadith is mawquf. For you brothers studying Mustalah hadith, we're going to get to a hadith called mawquf. We haven't gotten there yet. In the middle of the book, we're going to get to a hadith that is called mawquf. Mawquf. What is mawquf? موقوف is the hadith الذي يقف عند شخص آخر ولا يرفع إلى النبي عليه السلام. The hadith that is موقوف is the hadith that stops at such and such, and it is not raised up to the Messenger of Allah. The statement of Bukhari is موقوف. The statement that Ibn Umar said himself is موقوف. If he said the Messenger of Allah said, then it's called marfu'. We'll get to that also. Marfu'. The hadith that is attributed to the Messenger of Allah. Every hadith that is attributed to the Messenger of Allah is called marfu'. It's called marfu'. The hadith of Umar that our brother Abu Zubayr mentioned, Umar didn't say the Messenger of Allah said. He didn't say that. But what Umar used to do on the minbar, he used to teach some of the companions and the tabi'un this dua, Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika, to the end. And he did not say the Messenger of Allah said. So this hadith, according to Umar, or the one narrated by Umar, is mawquf. طيب, who can mention another opening supplication that the Messenger of Allah used to say? There are many, and we encourage that you learn many of them. Don't just learn one, because your heart is going to be bored. Don't just learn one dua in the qiyam. Don't just learn one dua in the ruku'. Don't just learn one dua in tashahhud. Don't just learn one dua after the salah. Don't just learn one dua in the sujood. Don't just learn one dua when you raise your head after the ruku'. La. Learn as many as you can. If you learn one and you can learn another, learn another. And if you learn 5 and you can learn another, learn 10. And if you learn as many as you can to implement the sunnah. أحيانا قال النبي كذا وكذا وأحيانا قاله كذا وكذا. Sometimes the Messenger of Allah will say this one, and sometimes the Messenger of Allah will say that one. He didn't always say ربنا ولك الحمد. La. Sometimes he would change it and say Allahumma ربنا ولك الحمد. And sometimes he would change it and say Allahumma wa rabbana lakal hamd. And sometimes he would change it. So learn as many ad'iyah as you can, so your hearts will never become bored. Tayyib. Who knows another one? One more, ya ikhwan. Another supplication that you start the salah with. ما شاء الله أحسنت يا أبا زبير. هذا دعاء من حديث أبي هريرة عند البخاري ومسلم. That dua that our beloved brother recited comes from the hadith of Abu Hurairah that is collected by Bukhari and Muslim. It's the most authentic dua that you start the prayer off with because it's collected in Bukhari and Muslim. طيب, Imam Malik has a different opinion. What does Imam Malik say? Imam Malik says, now this is going to blow your mind, ya ikhwan, but we hope we can shed some light on it. قال الإمام مالك رحمه الله تعالى دعاء الاستفتاح دعاء الاستفتاح لا يشرع. طيب, Imam Malik said what? That the opening supplication is not legislated. That was his opinion. That the opening supplication is not legislated. So we have many authentic hadith that the Prophet of Allah used to say this, and he used to say that, and sometimes he would say this, and sometimes he would say that. But Imam Malik says, in his opinion, that the opening supplication is not legislated. How is that? Who can shed some light on that? Okay, there's a hadith in which the Messenger of Allah, the hadith is in Bukhari Muslim also, and the Messenger of Allah saw a man praying badly, and he said, go back and pray. He said, irji' fasalli fannaka lam tusalli, go back and pray, for really you did not pray. So the man went back. The Messenger of Allah said again, irji' fasalli fannaka lam tusalli, go back and pray, for really you did not pray, 3 times. The man said, وَالَّذِي بَعَثَكَ بِالْحَقِّ هذه الصلاة لا أحسن غيرها فعلمني. The man said, O Messenger of Allah, by the one who sent you with the truth, this is the only prayer that I know how to do. So teach me. So the Messenger of Allah began to teach him. When you stand and place the Qibla, when you stand, face the Qibla, and then say Allahu Akbar, and then read what's easy for you to read from the Quran, and then make ruku', and then to the end of that hadith. So the Prophet of Allah did not say certain things. Some scholars say whatever he didn't say is not obligatory. But there's something else. According to Imam Malik, those authentic hadith, they didn't reach him, or they reached him, but the chain that reached him was weak. It's not imaginable, or is not correct to assume that an imam of hadith would deliberately go against the hadith. We have to have husnul dhann, something we learned 2 weeks ago, a word that many of us have left when it comes to the Muslims. Giving your brother the good thought, having a good thought of your sister. Many of us, we never do that, ever. We have good thought of the kuffar, and we have sayyi dhann, evil thoughts of our brother. And that's not from Islam. That's not the sunnah. The sunnah is having husnu al-dhann, having good thoughts of your brother. Many of us, we rush. Everyone's an innovator. Everyone's a deviant. Everyone's misguided, except for the person that's saying it. He can do all the sins, all the wrong, and he's still guided. La. As one brother said, being on the sunnah has nothing to do with your character. He said, what are you talking about, ya akhi? Character, the sunnah makes up the character. How can you be on the sunnah and have bad character. How can you be on the sunnah and your character does not match the sunnah? No. Being on the sunnah is more than your wife wearing a jilbab or covering her face, or the man wearing a thobe or imama or kufi. كل هذا من السنة. نعم. All of this is from the sunnah. Yes. ولكن السنة غير هذا. But the sunnah is greater than all of that. A man can wear a thobe and not be on the sunnah. A man can have a beard and not be on the sunnah. A woman can cover her face and not be on the sunnah. That's one thing from the sunnah. The sunnah is collective, ya ikhwan. It's collective. Just like a man can do one thing from Islam and be a disbeliever. And a man can do one thing from disbelief and be a Muslim. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. So the ulama of hadith, they mention if a scholar who is known to be a scholar of hadith, it is not correct to think that he would deliberately oppose the sunnah of the Messenger of Allah. But you make excuses. The first excuse is that those authentic hadith that we may read now did not reach Al-Imam Malik. That's one possibility. Second possibility is that it reached him, but the chain that reached him was a weak chain. So he did not accept it. This is another benefit, that you do not stop at the words of even the scholars. No. You have to go to the step to learn, why is this imam saying that? What's his evidence? What's his proof from the Quran and Sunnah? And it's something that many of us don't do. Our proof is, especially from our wives, my husband said, وَنَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ. The whole masjid, with the women, the issue comes up. My husband told me, girl. Well, my husband told me. Well, my husband told me. My husband told me. We love all your husbands. But Islamically, who cares who is your husband? What did Allah say? What did the Messenger of Allah say? What did the companions understand in this issue? Many of our brothers are the same way. Oh, my imam said, the student of knowledge who teaches in my masjid said, my madhab says, my sheikh, that I don't really know him, but my sheikh, that I never read any of his books, I only read the translations, that sheikh said. Many of us do not go and see what Allah says and the Messenger of Allah has said. At any rate, so the Imams of Hadith, they say that perhaps Al-Imam Malik, this Hadith did not reach him, or it reached him, but the chain that it reached him was not authentic. Wallahu alam, and Allah knows best. Imam Malik said that the opening supplication is not legislated. You guys understand that, ya ikhwan? Allahu Akbar. So the hadith is authentic. The scholars can still differ on one last thing. What is the hadith saying? And this happens a lot, ya ikhwan. A lot of times this happens. The hadith appears to be saying one thing only. I'll give you one more example before we get back to the Arabic, inshallah. One more example. The Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam, he said, La salata liman lam yaqra. This should be it, yeah. Yaqra بفاتحة الكتاب بفاتحة الكتاب. The Messenger of Allah said, there's no prayer for the one that does not read the mother of the book, the opening of the book, meaning Al-Fatiha. لم يقرأ بفاتحة الكتاب. طيب, that looks clear, right? That's clear? That's why fiqh is so humbling, ya ikhwan. There's no prayer. That's clear? Everyone with me? For the one who does not recite the opening of the book. Meaning the Quran. Meaning Al-Fatiha, which is the opening of the Quran. Right. There's only one way to understand this, right? It looks clear. So, one way. I'm going to give you another way. Right. Majority of the scholars say this. Majority. Say that Al-Fatiha is obligatory to recite because of this hadith. Right? It looks clear. There are three. Right. There are two positions here. We'll give you two. The first is that the liman lam yaqra, for the one who does not recite, is not as general as it looks. For the one, pay attention here. For the one, it looks like it's general. Imam Malik from the Salaf and of our time, Sheikh Albani. Sheikh Albani agrees with Imam Malik here. He agrees with Imam Malik a lot of times. Imam Malik is a scholar of fiqh, ya ikhwan. His Muwatta is one of the best fiqh books you're going to study. But no one studies it. It just sits on a masjid. Every masjid in America has that book, but no one reads it. Like Bukhari and Muslim, Abu Dawud and Nasai, Tirmidhi, Abi Dawud, Ibn Majah, Al-Muwatta, Al-Bayhaqi. All of us have these books, but who's reading them? As I mentioned, I was trying to sell some of my books. A lot of brothers contacted me. Oh, I want to buy some. One brother can't even read the Arabic books. I say, actually, no disrespect, but I would rather sell them to someone that I can get the reward. Someone that's going to read them. He said, I just want to put them in my house. Make my library look nice. You see, that's not the goal. The goal is not to have a nice library. That's not the goal. The goal is not to have a lot of books. That's not the goal. To memorize a lot of hadith. That's not the goal. To memorize a lot of statements of the ulama. That's not the goal. The goal is al-amalu biha. Al-amalu bihadha al-ilm. Al-amalu bima hafidhna. The goal is to work by what we learn. The goal is not to memorize. No, never. The goal is to work by the knowledge. Knowledge is not al-ilmu هو الذي لا يحفظ. العلم هو الذي يعمل به. كما قال الشافعي رحمه الله. Knowledge is not plainly what you memorize. No, never. Knowledge is what is practiced, what you work by. And it humbles us to even say, ya ikhwan, many of us, the most important thing, what you memorize, ya akhi. How many hadith you got memorized? MashaAllah. That's it? That's your only question? Yes. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. No. The goal is that you work in accordance with what you have learned. وَإِذَا الْعَبْدُ لَا يَعْمَلُ بِمَا يَحْفَظُ فَعِلْمُهُ لَا يَنْفَعُ. And if the person does not work by the knowledge that is memorized, then his knowledge does not benefit him. وَيَوْمُ الْقِيَامَةِ يَضُرُّ هَذَا الْعِلْمِ. And يوم القيامة, that knowledge is going to be against him. فَإِذَا الْعَبْدُ لَهُ مَكْتَبَةٌ كَبِيرَةٌ جَمِيلَةٌ فِي بَيْتِهِ أو في غيره ولا تنفعه هذه المكتبة ولا عائلته ولا أحد من الناس هذه المكتبة ستضره يوم القيامة ونعوذ بالله. So the man or the woman And it's a reminder for myself, firstly, ikhwan, and my brothers and sisters, secondly, who has a nice books, nice library, a beautiful library in his house or his office or his masjid or wherever he has his books, her books. And he never benefits from the books. He never reads them. They just sit there and sit there and sit there. It looks nice when you visit him. Oh, mashallah. You getting it in, ya akhi. All the books look brand new. Dust, spider webs. Never cracked open. Not for him, his wife, his children, not his guests. No one benefits from those books. But it looks beautiful. It looks nice. No one benefits from those books. What's going to happen Yawm al-Qiyamah? Those books are going to bear witness against him. Not for him. Against him. The man has a lot of wealth. A lot of wealth. ولم يتصدق على المسلمين على المساجد على الفقراء على المساكين يوم القيامة هذه المال أو هذا المال ستضره يوم القيامة. The man has a lot of wealth. The sister has a lot of wealth. But she doesn't spend on the Muslims. She doesn't give sadaqah. She doesn't give zakat. She doesn't spend on the fuqara and the masakin. Just accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. She has money. He has money. What's going to happen Yawm al-Qiyamah? That money is going to harm him. Meaning, is not going to be a benefit for him. Those books that we don't read in our masjid, books of hadith, mashallah, books of al-fiqh, that nobody reads. إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَهُ اللَّهِ, except the one that Allah has mercy upon. يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ تَضُرُّنَا هَذِهِ الْكُتُبِ. These books are going to harm us. Meaning, لَا تَنْفَعُنَا. They're not going to benefit us. They're going to be against us. يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. So the goal, ya ikhwan, never. Don't ever make your intentions just to memorize. No, ya ikhwan. That's like taking notes in a class. أنت في الدرس وأنت تكتب الفوائد الحمد لله كثيرة ولم ترجع إلى هذه الفوائد أبدا. لم ترجع إلى هذا الدفتر أبدا. لم ترجع إلى هذه الكراسة أبدا. فما فائدة كتابتك هذه الفوائد؟ The man sits in a class. The sister sits in a class and she takes beautiful notes. The man takes beautiful notes. But he never returns back to his notes ever. He never returns back to the book, his notebooks, ever. Then what was the benefit of taking the notes if you're never going to return back to the notes? It's no benefit. That's like having a sheikh in your basement locked up. And you tie the sheikh up. Someone that can benefit you, that can teach you your religion. You have him in your house tied up as a captive. And this man can benefit you. This sister can benefit you. And you don't allow the person to benefit you. Yawm al-Qiyamah is going to be against you. Yawm al-Qiyamah. The point is, you don't make your goal to merely memorize. No. You memorize and you work. You make error, you get back on the horse. And you memorize and you work. You fall off the horse again, you get back up on the horse. You don't just learn and read and take notes and never go back to the notes. And buy books and you don't read them. La 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 la. That's like a house with no roof. That's like a masjid that nobody comes to pray. There's no benefit. What's the benefit of that masjid if the Muslims don't take advantage of that masjid? It's not going to be. It's going to be against them. Yawm al-Qiyamah. Allah bless you with a masjid and you never go to it. Allah bless you with books and you don't read them. طيب. Let's get back to the point here, ikhwan. So the Messenger of Allah, he says, لا صلاة لمن لم يقرأ بفاتحة الكتاب. There's no prayer for the one who does not read the mother or the opening of the book. طيب, Imam Malik has another point of view. What does Imam Malik say, ya ikhwan? Imam Malik says, مقصود النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام هنا الإمام ليس عامة الناس. Imam Malik says the intent, مقصود النبي, the intent of the Messenger of Allah here is al-Imam. He says, although the Prophet said, whoever, he says he's not talking generally, but rather he's talking about the Imam. Meaning the Imam that does not read the mother of the book, whoever is leading the prayer, who does not read the mother of the book, he has no salah. That's one opinion. The majority of the scholars, Al-Imam Ahmad, Al-Imam Ash-Shafi'i, Al-Imam Ash-Shawkaanee, they say, no, the hadith is general. It's for the Imam and other than the Imam. This hadith is authentic, ya ikhwan. It's in Bukhari and Muslim. But the scholars differ over what is it saying. So this is another example that something can be authentic and the scholars may differ over what does it mean. نعم تفضل يا أخي. In some scholars they say that if the person has the ability, he's not doing it like if he's doing to the best of his ability, then he's not changing the meaning on purpose or the likes. Some scholars do say that. For example, if the person says an'amta, he says an'amtu. He changes the meaning therein. If he's doing it on purpose, then that can be looked at to be kufr. That the person yatala'abu bil Quran, that the person is actually playing with the Quran if he's doing it on purpose. And then they differ over if the person, he does not do it on purpose, he's reciting to the best of his ability, but this is his best. So he's saying the letter, it sounds like it's a dad, it sounds like it's a dha, but it's really a dad. So they differ therein, but that statement is correct that you mentioned. No. Tell you what time is it, Ikhwan? Let's get back to our Arabic, inshallah. Let's do one more benefit. We got kind of sidetracked tonight. Tayyib. With regards to the plural, there are two types of plural. Some scholars say three. That's one and the same. We'll say that again. When it comes to al-jam', the plural, some scholars say the jam' is jama'an. That is really two plurals. Some scholars say there are two types of plural. Jama'an. The plural is two types. Other scholars say no, there are three types. That's the same. How can two and three be the same? MashaAllah. As we talked about once again, the understanding of it. Some scholars say Tawheed is how many categories? Tawheed. Some scholars say three. Other scholars say four. They are one and the same. How can three and four be the same? What do you mean? Explain. Ah. Okay.
That threw me off.
Tho- those that say 3, they have 3. Those that say 4, their 3 is the same as the other group. And when they add the 4, they're talking about not Allah, but singling out the messenger of Allah in your following. But that's not the Tawheed of Allah. So it's really the same. It's the same. Some scholars say the plural is 2. Other scholars say no, it's 3. This is the same. We're going to give you a breakdown, and we hope all of you understand this. And then we'll stop, inshallah. For those that say it's 2, write this down. For those that say it's 2 types, their first type is Jami'u at-Taksir. Jami'u at-Taksir. The broken plural. For those that say 2, their first category is Jami'u at-Taksir, the broken plural. And their second one is Jami'u as-Salim. Jami'u as-Salim. So for those that say 2, their first group is Jami'u at-Taksir. Their second is Jami'u as-Salim, the sound plural. The scholars say the plural. Some scholars say there are 2 plurals. Other scholars say there are 3. That is one and the same. For those that say there are 2, their first group is Jam'u Taksir, the broken plural. And the second is Jam'u Salim. So 1, 2. Then they say this Jam'u Salim has 2 types. Right? So let's go back. We don't want to lose no one. We want all of you to understand, inshallah. No one walks away without this benefit. The first group, they say there are 2 types of plural. Their first type is Jam'u Taksir, the broken plural. Second type, Jam'u Salim, the sound plural. Then they say this sound plural has 2 types. So 1 and 2 is 3. Type. So then they say this sound plural has 2 types. Al-Mudhakkar wal-Mu'annath, the masculine and the feminine. And this is correct. You see how sometimes a statement can have one statement, but the intent behind it can be something else. So the first group, they say what? That the plural is of 2 types. Jam'u Taksir, the broken plural. Second type, Jam'u Salim, the sound plural. Then they say this sound plural is of 2 types, the masculine and the feminine, meaning Jam'u al-Mudhakkar salim, the sound masculine plural, and Jam'u al-Mu'annath salim, and the sound feminine plural. So 1 and 2 equals 3. So for those that say it's 2, they really mean 3 because the second group is of 2 types. 1 and 2 equals 3. Allahu Akbar. طيب, so this will be called جمع المذكر السالم. So this is the masculine one, the sound masculine plural. And then we have the sound feminine plural. So those that say it's 2, they really mean 3 because their second group is broken down into 2, and 1 and 2 equals 3. And the feminine one is called جمع المؤنث السالم, the sound feminine plural. The sound feminine plural. Now, so did we lose anyone, ya ikhwan? Everyone understands? Who does not understand? Allahu Akbar. Like, we'll stop there, ya ikhwan. We won't give no homework tonight. Just make muraja'ah of some of the lessons that we have learned before. And we'll continue, inshallah ta'ala, in the next class. بإذن ta'ala. فَنَسَبْتُ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ وَنَخْتَطُ فَمِنْ نَفْسِي. Anything that we said that's correct is from Allah. Anything we said is incorrect is from ourselves. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum salam. Oh, I didn't get a chance to find it yet. Yes, I apologize. I just did a double last night, and then I did a double the day before that also. But inshallah ta'ala, by tomorrow, I'll try to find it for you, inshallah ta'ala. Can you send me? Okay, that sounds great. I'll try my best, inshallah. Give me a night, inshallah. Anytime, ya Sheikh. May Allah raise you. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. One of our sisters, they say, is it possible to make the YouTube more clear? I think it's just the app that I'm using. It's a free app, and I think it's just either that app or it's my camera. But the only thing is the same camera that I'm using, but it's clear on the other app, but not as visible on the YouTube. So I can try to play with it, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah bless you. المفرد ألف واللام ميم ثاء را دال. المفرد. The singular. طيب no problem يا شيخ. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.